So if you look at our navbar component, we only have a single method here. That's the render method. We don't have any event handlers here. We don't have any helper methods to calculate values. We only have a single render method. Also, we don't have any state. We're getting all the data via props. In situations like this, we can convert this component into what we call a stateless functional component. So instead of using a class to define this component, we can use a function. Let me show you how to do this. So we define a constant, call it navbar, and set it to an arrow function like this. In the body of this arrow function, we return a React element. So basically, we take our return statement from here and move it inside of this function. So instead of having a class that extends the component class with a render method, we simply define a function that returns a React element. That's why we call this a stateless functional component. Now, there is nothing wrong with using classes to define components, but some developers prefer to use functions when they're dealing with simple stateless components. What approach you choose is purely your personal preference, but you see a lot of examples of stateless functional components on the internet. That's why I decided to include this in the course. Now, we also have a shortcut for creating these stateless functional components, just like we have CC for creating a class component. We have SFC for creating a stateless functional component. So this gives us a template for defining a function and also exporting it. Now, we don't need this, so delete. Now, one more thing before we finish this. Here we're referencing this.props. This only works in class components. In functional components, you need to add props as a parameter here, and then remove this. React will pass the props object as an argument to this function at runtime.